everybody. Grab your drinks. Yep, fill it up with some cocktails because guess what? We are going to be talking about your parents. Yeah, get a cocktail. Or you know what? Maybe you are the parent who's listening. So you never know. Your kids could be on this. Hi, I'm Jill Van Dusen, and I just want to thank you for joining me today on the Get Real with Jill show. And this is a very important topic. So really listen in. Don't tune out. You may not like hearing what you're hearing, but I promise you this will be beneficial, whether it's now or in the future or even the near future. This is going to be a very important conversation that we're going to have, not just as sons and daughters, but as the adult children who one day become the parents of our parents. So, the whole reason why I even want to have this topic of discussion is because my sister and I, and of course my step family too, who helps with our mom, we are in this challenging situation with our mom and our aunt. You guys may have seen past shows that when I've talked about this, with with our loved ones being in assisted living. I mean, it's definitely been a journey, and and I know our family is not unique. My friends, oh my gosh, I'm cracking up because my cell phone is like taping me. My friends are also in this situation with different levels with their parents and how they're handling their situations. Actually, three of my best friends are in this situation, but in all different ways. So, the other reason why I thought this was important, and it's really been prevalent this year, is as you know, or hopefully you know, I am a realtor. Yes, that is my career. I am not necessarily an actress. Um, the hostess on Get Real with Jill is just something on the side so that I can provide value to you, for those of you who are listening. Um, so the as a realtor, I have really been I'm very blessed to help the active adult community 55 plus. But who I'm helping right now is so many of the kids, the adult kids like my age ish, that are A, selling their parents' house because their parents have passed, B, maybe one parent passed and their other parent is moving to assisted living. There's so many different dynamics of what's going on right now, a lot in the active adult communities, because here in the Rockland, the Placer County region, so many of those communities are about 30 years new. So the people that lived there moved in at 55, they're now in their 80s. And so I really, I think if you guys are you have elderly parents or just parents that are maybe 70s and healthy, I still encourage you to listen, please. I am seeing so many heartaches out there, and every situation is different. And it's so cool to see how much people are just so helping their parents, though I see things that could have been done just to even help them. Okay, so I still hope you are tuning in and have not left, because this is about talking about how we can become parents of our parents. And as I said, this hits very close to home because our mom and our aunt are both, they're outliving their money. And of course, we want them to live, though their funds are really kind of going out the door right now. Um, oh, I just saw, sorry, I just got distracted. Um, so I think what's important too is when I say a trust alone does not solve everything. A trust, which everybody should have a living trust or however they want to do their trust. And so that when it's necessary, that is all in place. So this first part, I'm going to be asking you some questions. So don't turn off this channel. And I really hope, Before I dive into some solutions that you can ask I'm going to ask you three powerful and honest questions. That might be a little bit scary because if you can't answer yes to all three, there's some things you might need to manage and start talking about with your family, with your siblings, with your parents, because we really don't know what's coming. Okay, so question number one. Do you know how your parents' money and retirements account are set up? And what happens if one of them or both of them need assisted living or full time care? Here's the truth. You might be saying, oh, yeah, my parents are totally set up. They have this great retirement. I know they have lots of money. They spend like they have lots of money. They own this property, that property, and they travel all the time. Okay, that's great. That's where they are today. Who knows over the next 20 to 30 years? Yes, they can live that long. They could be 60 or 70 and still have plenty of life ahead of them. But here's the truth, and will they be prepared for this? This is just today's cost. The median cost of assisted living in the United States is over $6,100 per month. That's about 73,000 a year. In California, it's often close to like 7,500 a month, and memory care can literally exceed 9,000 a month. And the scariest part, once savings and pensions all run dry, Social Security alone won't cover it, obviously. And I even think, and then people that like have a reverse mortgage, um, a lot of people have a reverse mortgage, and there's so many different types. This just reminded me because they're living in their home, they're living their good life right now. They don't have a mortgage to pay. And then what happens when they do have to go to assisted living? So most people have a reverse mortgage, most that I know, is because they needed some financial help. Okay. So what happens if they cannot live in their home anymore because one partner passes? They can't afford the taxes anymore. They can't afford the HOA fees, possibly. And so they have to sell their home, and they're going to barely make much in the when they sell and they pay off the reverse mortgage. So ask yourself, A, do my parents have a reverse mortgage? B, if one of them passes, can they stay in the house? Can they afford to stay? Three, if they do have to move, whether it's both of them or one of them, do they have enough money for that assisted living? That's really, really important, you guys, because, and a lot of people don't even realize that their parents have a reverse mortgage. Okay, question number two. Do you have legal authority to sign for your parents? And you're like, what? My parents would never, ever allow that. I am totally understood and get it. That is a gradual process, though there is a time and a place to start having those conversations. Because what if something happens? What if one is incapacitated, one is not, and you have no authority, but then all of a sudden you are given the responsibilities to pay their bills, to take them to the doctors, to talk to the doctor. So these are all things to be thinking about. So, for example, and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, my parents are so private. They're not going to give me anything. They're not going to tell me their finances. Well, and I get it. And I totally get it. Everybody's very, very private in that situation. My son knows all of it. Does he have signing authority on everything or anything? No. But I have a trust that's going to handle all of that stuff. So here's what happened. And again, every stage is different. So I'm really hoping this is helping you guys because it's like, well, when do we start having those conversations? It's really never too late to have those conversations. So I'm 60. So we are taking care of our mom and our aunt. My son is 31. Now, would he start having conversations with the 60-year-old mom? Absolutely. He should just he doesn't have to start digging into stuff, but hey mom, what are you prepared for when you sell the house or when you retire? I have no problem my son asking me these things because the last thing I want him to be in the position is him having to have any financial responsibility for his mama. he's my only son, so it's not like he can share in that responsibility. Um, though I know what I see out there and I know what we have experienced here, it's very time consuming and the emotional piece of it is very draining. Luckily, we have a step family. I don't even like to say that word, step, that helps with our mom. And then my sister and I are Auntie Patty's people. And we finally have this all wrapped around on how we get this done together without it financially or emotionally draining. And you guys might right now be in that position where it is draining. So that's why it's important to start asking those questions. And my sister Michelle and I started asking our aunt some questions when we started seeing signs of things. Where maybe we should have started asking her questions years in advance, maybe 5 years, 3 years. And as soon as we started asking her these questions, she would get irritated, agitated, and mad at us. But we now know why. It's because she was experiencing some memory things, I think, that she at that time was afraid to acknowledge. Though we have all of her stuff done, everything in writing, our mom's stuff. So I know I'm kind of going off the curve that way, but I just want to let you know you are not alone. We never know when is the right time to approach. We often find out the right time, or I'm sorry, we often find out approaching them is later than we should have. Okay. So you have your personal situation with your families, but at least start having the conversation, because even with a trust, banks, hospitals, they'll often deny access to talking to you. And thankfully, all our mom, our dad, our stepdad, and our aunt were so open to that. And that really helped us so that we didn't have to fight the system later. Okay, so question three. Yes, question three: long term care and Medi Cal reality. Okay, Medi Cal reality. So, have your parents or you looked into whether they would even qualify for Medi Cal? It's Medicaid in other states. In California, we call it Medi-Cal. This is not Medicare, okay? You guys, there's a difference there. You can't just apply and get in. It is a process and it is grueling. And every year you have to reapply. And you might be asked, so that's my question. And it takes months. So are you guys prepared for that? Because, and we started doing that with our stepdad and our aunt way before we really even had to, but we didn't even realize how close at that time that it was going to be necessary. All right. So, on that part with Medi-Cal or Medicaid, it's really about if they do run out of money. And I do know so many people that their parents really set up a great plan, great retirement, funds for assisted living, um, funds for memory care, and then they outlasted their money. So that's when Medi-Cal comes in at many, many different things. So we actually had to apply for Medi-Cal for our mom and our aunt. And again, it was grueling, but we hired somebody. There's resources out there. We hire that person. They're the experts. They do all the paperwork. We have to do some fact finding, but they do all of that. And it was so, so helpful. And it was worth every penny. Okay, so here's the reality check. Think about this, because really, your parents could be very healthy today. That's what my son's going to be saying. My mom's fine. She's out. She still has her career. She loves it. She travels. She has a cough. Uh-oh, I have a cough. Um, you might be saying, my parents are playing pickleball. They travel the world. They go on cruises. They're entertaining. They're active. My mom swims all the time. So they're living their life to the fullest. So when you're seeing that now, it really is very, very hard to imagine the future because they look and feel fine and They might eat right, they're athletic, but I want to tell you, let's talk about some numbers here. The average life expectancy for women in the US is about 79 years, and for men, it's around 73 years. Okay, that's not very old now when I think about it. But many do live well into their mid 80s or even 90s. And that's right now, mid 80s, or yeah, 80s is where our mom and aunt are. Our dad is 93, or will be November 7th, 93. He's in great shape, great health, and he even drives, and he can during the day. Otherwise, I'd be one to say, we got to take that. Oh my gosh. So he's very healthy, he's active, and he's 93. Well, our mom and our aunt in their 80s are not doing well. 20 years ago, absolutely shining. I look back and less than 10 years ago, it was probably 8. Now they think about it, we were all on a family reunion trip to Topsail in North Carolina. And I look back at our mom and think, oh my gosh, look at how healthy she was, vibrant, traveling, um, just enjoying the new great grandbaby and enjoying her grandkids. And our stepdad was alive then. Who would have thought now? And our aunt who was there, oh my gosh, she was like the life of the party. And then 8 years go by and our stepdad has passed 3 years ago. Our mom is in assisted living. She can't do anything for herself. And our aunt has Alzheimer's dementia. You guys, in 8 years that happened. So your parents may have a good 10 to 20 years left. I mean, I sure hope I live to be like my dad in the 90s and still have his mind, still be active. I love that. Like, I really hope my genes take after him in that way. But if your parents developed Alzheimer's dementia, this changes dramatically. And this was our aunt. Our aunt is healthy as a horse. She walks in her room, she lights it up, she dresses beautiful. But her mind, she has Alzheimer's dementia. And they live 8 to 10 years after the diagnosis, most people. Again, this is a statistic. Um, they're physically okay, and but their financial needs increase. And I'm going to say it right here and now. Um, I have no problem sharing this if this can help somebody. But our aunt, she's run out of all of her retirement. Here, she thought, and we thought, I mean, she worked for Visa USA for years and had a great job, retirement, pension. And now next year we have to sell her home. That's her asset. And and we don't know what can happen if she outlives that. And that's where Medi-Cal comes in. And if you don't have to, you really hope that you never have to use it. It's a resource, but it's not the best resource. Um, anyway, so just wanted to tell you that. So, um, signs to watch for too, and this is what we saw in Auntie Patty. Again, everybody is different. We started to see her becoming short. We started to see her when she's driving. She would get lost, and then she would be repeating the same stories. And then, of course, as the years gone by, this has just gotten worse and worse. And of course, she doesn't drive anymore. But she actually was the one who decided not to, because I think she started getting scared. And we noticed that too. And if we go to look back, our aunt is 82. And I think this actually started when she turned 70. I definitely do. When you look back, you really don't know that the signs are there until you look back and you will see them. Especially balancing a checkbook. Oh my gosh. We didn't have to worry about her cooking because she didn't cook. She only had a kitchen because it came with the house. Seriously. Um, so we noticed that the driving, some mood swings, and she was just definitely scared and was not able to keep up with her email and some of those easier technology things that she was doing literally on a daily basis. So these are just warning signs for that, as and aging, of course, too. All right, so you guys, this whole thing isn't to be cold or cruel or oh my gosh or bring in fear, but maybe it is. It's just about reality. We never thought we would be in this position. We are. And my two besties, they are in this position too, as well, with their with their parents. And some people will say, oh my gosh, it'll be fine. My parents, they're awesome. They have great attitudes. I will so take care of my parents. Okay. Um, Easier said than done. And I know, like my girlfriend Julie, she takes care of her dad. He lives there, he has issues, and she still works very hard, and so does her husband. It's a very big emotional strain. It's exhausting, but she did promise her mom, who passed at a very young age, that she would take care of her dad, and she's sticking to that. So, but I want you to really think about what this looks like if, because you're, oh, I'll just take care of them. Even my brother in law, who I adore, says, oh, my oldest one, Melissa, will take care of me. And knowing Melissa, she would, but now she has a 9 year old and she has a baby. So, what is that going to look like? So, you're preparing meals now for your parent. You might be changing their diapers. You might have to have help getting them showered. They forget things, they get lost. Yes, aging is reality, guys. And so it's easier said than done. You might be able to handle it, and more power to you, though be prepared just in case you can't. And you might be like, well, home care, that's like 35 to 40 bucks an hour. I could do that. No big deal. We could afford that. Well, I can't tell you how many times I've seen home care providers come and go. We actually had home care for our mom and our aunt, and it was more of a chore having to find the replacements for each of them at different days because this home care provider didn't show up. This one got sick. This one's car broke down. So it might be easy to say, oh, yeah, we got this. We'll pay for our home care provider. No, it's like a job every day to make sure that that home care provider comes to your home, does what they're supposed to do, and that otherwise you're just interviewing new ones. Trust me, that was always a hassle. So, home care providers and maybe even live-ins could be like 8 to 10,000 a month as well. And not all of them stay, and you really do need to make sure they're super qualified and that they love, 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 love doing this. God gave us all different skills, and those are the people that have these amazing skills that can do their job. But if your parents run out of money, the Social Security is not going to pay for it. And it's so important for you to have the resources and the time to be able to do this. So I do want to encourage you guys before we close, please make a conscious effort to just start having conversations with your family, with your siblings regarding how you will be taking care of your parents. I talk to people so many times my age, they haven't even started having those conversations with their parents, and they know they need to, and they're afraid to ask. They're afraid to ask, to think about, oh, my parents are going to think that I'm just after their money. And a lot of people think that, but I guess it's more of about just having a conversation with them. Have them watch this, send this to them, have them watch it, please. And especially if they're on a reverse mortgage, you guys, and they're living a great life, which is awesome. Why did they get that reverse mortgage? Seriously. Because a lot of times, just like our mom, once our dad passed, our mom could stay in that beautiful house they had, except the money that was left, she would not be able to afford the taxes and the HOA. So that says a lot. So, anyway, so sit down with your parents, ask the tough questions. Feel free to call me anytime. I am here to help you. I'm hoping that my experience and I'm sure my sister, I'm going to push her out there too. We would be more than happy to have a conversation with you and direct you to resources. And I will be putting in the comment section here resources that you can reach out to as well, just depending on what level you're at. Because really, you guys, do you really want to wait for a crisis to happen, or do you want to get it up front? Because the word crisis, do you know what that does to your life? what that does to your work, what that does to your health, what that does to your emotion stability, and you're helping somebody else and you become this numb person. And it's because you're helping somebody else and you don't have the tools or the resources or the steps in place. And so you're just in reaction mode. Trust me, things evolved over the last few years. We all worked together as a team, but it was draining. And everybody in our family had their emotional drain. And it just sucked the life out of, well, I can say me, but I'm sure it did too for them as well in different ways. All of us experienced it in different ways. So, if this episode resonates with you and you've had your cocktail, please share it, tag a friend, maybe even watch it with a friend, maybe watch it with your parents. Luckily, our dad, our stepdad, Al, he came to us in 2015 before all of this started to unfold. He came to us and we started, actually, my stepsister and I started taking over their finances. And he was so appreciative because it was too much on him. And we just started gradually doing things that needed to change. So it was still very hard, trust me, after he passed. On that, I mean, obviously because he passed, but meaning taking care of our mom. So please catch up. I hope you can pass this episode on to others, but I want to ask you, I am going to challenge you today on one thing. Um, think about 20 to 30 years ago, or even when you were a child, okay? Think about this. When you drove around your neighborhood, how many assisted living places, buildings taking up acres were actually that you were actually driving by? I cannot recall one. And then as I was older in Sacramento, I remember one on Sunrise. And then there are assisted living and memory care places everywhere. Three I can think of right away that are less than 5 miles from my house, probably less than 3 miles from my house. Huge, and they take up acres. What does that tell you? People don't just put up assisted living places and memory care just to have vacant. No, they're full and they have a wait list. So my challenge to you is see what the difference is. Go around your neighborhood, or when you're driving home tonight, or um, dropping your kids off at school or whatever, think about all the assisted living places that you just passed by. And it's probably way more than you did when you were a child. Okay, so I want to challenge you on that. Okay, so you guys, I so appreciate you joining the Let's Get Real with Jill. Have your cocktail. And so please, you can follow me here on Facebook, Instagram. You can watch previous shows on YouTube and my Spotify podcasts. These will all drop within the next couple of days. And feel free to look at past shows. I talked about my son with his juvenile diabetes. That was a big show. And then talked about the differences between type 1 and type 2. And still today, people don't know the differences. That's okay. Get educated because they are very, very different for sure. So, all right, you guys, have a great day. And we have some great shows coming up. And if you like to get the emails that show about when the shows are coming and what the topics are, please feel free to direct message me. And then, second, if you have anybody that you would like to see on the show, anybody that like it's a hero in our neighborhood, or somebody who makes a difference in our community, or a restaurant that is opened and it has to do with health food and doing something different, whatever it is, if it's important to you, it's important to me. So please DM me, because I would love to talk to you about having somebody on the Get Real with Jill show. And I do have one. Oh, is it live next week? Oh my gosh, we're already in November. No, the week after. I have a children's book author, Candace, who is coming on the show, and she is launching her book. It just went to Amazon, and she will be here live 2 weeks from today. So please stay tuned for that, and then watch for posts as we will be promoting her. And a year ago at this time, she had a career at Intel. Yep. And guess what? She got laid off. And guess what? She is now living her dream. All right. Thank you so much for joining. Let's Get Real with Jill. I will see you next week. Have a great day. And remember, we never know what people are going through. And your smile, just be patient with people, give them grace. Your smile can make a difference in their life, and their smile back at you will make a difference in your life. I promise you. All right, you guys, have a great day, and be safe.